Flight boss, bitch. For sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucker responsibilities. And right now, we getting ready to break down the three kings, or the three perspectives, or the three hemispheres, or however you want to call it, all the way getting down to the three organs, or the three realms, aka heaven, earth, and motherfucking hell. And for the most part, these are areas that we travel through simultaneously every day as motherfucking spirits. And you could get lost into one of these perspectives. You could get lost into this hell realm, you could get lost into this earthly perspective, or you could get lost into this heavenly temple perspective, which we're getting ready to break down, where Herm, and Solomon Temple at and everything, where you create your sun and moon and your pillars, sun and moon, and then that little arc, you know what I'm saying, therefore that temple that you could get as a motherfucking crown right now. So, for the most part, this is what we're getting ready to break down. Heaven, hell, and earth, aka the three motherfucking perspectives that your spirit traveled through. Now, here's the thing, right? Now, once we start to talk about, I want to show y'all this real quick. Now, here's a picture that I drew. So here's the thing, right? This giving you the concept of, I know y'all thinking down there, what is that, a dick and some balls, or is that a pussy with some ovaries or things of that nature? It's kind of one and the same. So here's the thing, you see the six-pointed star as far as this the square and the compass, or the Berbers, that the Aka, I forgot what you call it, the Alka-Seltzer Jews and the Nazis and the Zionists, aka the Jews of Jerusalem, who was at that time, who still practiced those things and correlations. All this is just knowledge of understanding fire, the triangle going up, and water, the triangle going down, and that makes a six-pointed star. And once we get lost into a being that we actually live in now, because y'all been following a spirit that taught y'all how to stand up right, this actually could be correlated to track this energy down, as far as 3 planets being in fire and 3 planets being in air, or 3 planets being in earth and 3 planets being in water, for that perspective. And that's like after the fact, once we start to get into astronomy and astrology. But this is what we're doing internally, so I'm gonna help people understand it's from the inside out, and externally we are creating the actual existences of heaven, earth, and motherfucking hell as a physical representation. So keep this in mind. So for the most part, this is up here, you see this as a cloud. So once you see this as a cloud up here, right, this as what becomes foggy in our thoughts. So this is our heaven, our thoughts. But we get born from the lower chakras and die through the higher chakras. So for the most part, this letting you know down here, this area represents hell, fire, water, desires, your actions. You know what I'm saying? So this will be the physical representations. So this is basically all the things that you see being, as far as our buildings and our structures and our living conditions down here, as far as the roads and how these things are orchestrated. Now, up here, we draw these thoughts down here. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to get y'all out of the aspects of as below, as above, so below in a real quick second. But for the most part, just giving you the aspect of the magic square that they got you in, so you can have a broader perspective. So when I do make things interchangeable, you'll be able to understand what's really going on within the world. You know what I'm saying? You could probably already get the idea once I interchange this image. Now, right here, this will be the heavens, right? So this will be the heavens, your for the most part, your brain, your thoughts, and things of that nature. So that's up here. So for the most part, anytime you can utilize your thoughts, and this will be your fire, and this will be your water. And anytime fire and water come together, it creates what's in between. That's that sex that come in between. The spirit hovering over the waters. And in between, this ain't have no form yet. So it's just a macabre at the moment. And it's going to formulate nurture, or something that you can care for, as far as your thoughts and your feelings. And you can analyze your feelings, or you can react and respond to a feeling and start to analyze a thought on what feeling that you just interacted with or received. And for the most part, just create this little image or this vision. And this vision right here is the ability of the to start to create earth, or the heart chakra, Tiamat, Malakuth, or whatever like that. The emotions and feelings, aka the bubble that surrounds the space that you are in. So earth is just another term for a nature, right? And then for a practical nature. And then we create natures all over the place. So wherever your spirit at, and whatever it agrees with, as far as what it's familiar with, is going to be in that space, being no thing. And once it start to create things out of that space, the things in that space, aka the something, the awareness, the conscious, the energy that the spirit, that's no thing, create out of that space, for the most part, that those are representations of the nature. And for the most part, all of y'all are spirits that have been following another spirit, follow the leader that correlated to this kind of nature that y'all all formulating right now, as far as calling it earth, this dragon, this water snake creature that we live in at the moment that formulated all of these religions. But for the most part, that's another aspect, another video. You know what I'm saying? Get y'all esoteric Ouija boards. Make sure you know your direction in life. It ain't coming in yet. But look, like I said, right? So this giving you the aspect of even understanding in the Genesis, right? And the fire, the spirit of God is the parameter. The spirit of God, the fire, which they always try to call the spirit or the God a name or a title. That's the first form of blasphemy, but they just trying to utilize light, L-I-T-E, things that's light in weight to help you understand things that's created that became dense with L-I-G-H-T, light. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, hypothesis and metaphors is not meant for you to anthropomorphize these things, but to understand the general concept of life. So for the most part, this will be the fire, the spirit, and then and this will be the waters. You know what I'm saying? And then for the most part, when these two things come together, it creates that little Merkaba. So here's the thing. Now, it's going to create and make you create a monad out of yourself, and now you're going to have 7 virtues that develop out of these concepts, out of the 3. Because once you square yourself, square your circle, that 3 concept, idea, problem, and solution, right? Then you come to a conclusion. Your individual aspect about what just happened. And is it good for you or is it bad for you? That's a 4 point before you seal it as a 5 point or a 6 point. So for the most part, that's 4. So 4 in the esoteric realm is just 4 points. It doesn't necessarily have to be a box, but it's how you put your spirit inside of a box, like the Elohim, or separate yourself externally as far as putting yourself within a spaceship, putting yourself in your own image. Let me make man in my image, so or woman in my image. So you're making a shape and form or a fire or a flame that represent you as a spirit being nothing. Now that you can jump into that and become something. See what I'm saying? To represent your nothing until that form expires. And then you have to go do that somewhere else in the esoteric realm. But for the most part, here's the thing, right? When you're looking at this concept, right, as far as the fire hovering over the water, and once you start to imagine your the water, this represents the water. Water represents the emotions. So once you add an idea or a passion or a vision to the water, an emotion, you create evaporation, and that creates a water cycle, and then that's the beginning of a chakra wheel. You know what I'm saying? You're beginning to have a rotation, aka how you move and how the creature that you just created move, your character move within a persona that's in it, aka your spirit that's in it. Now, for the most part, here's the thing. Now we're going to get ready to turn things up. And for the most part, it's getting ready to fuck your mind up a little bit, because this is how things are supposed to be perceived. It's really not as above, so below, and things in between right now, because that's getting y'all lost into their concept, and they was lost. Just because it's something 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years before your time doesn't mean that it's not lostness. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand something for yourself, so you can be able to see the truth out of something and be able to see where you may be lost. So for the most part, when you turn it this way, right, this is the concept right now of letting you know that it's going around. So we're going around. This helps us understand gravity, relativity, aka we express this third dimensional wise as far as us manifesting actual relatives, or us learning better ways to relate to each other in some way, shape, or form, to make organizations or keep things organized, that things don't just crash into each other as far as mental states, emotionally or physically, where you stepping on someone's toes business wise and things of that nature. But for the most part, here's the thing. See, it's really the masculine and the feminine. You know what I'm saying? The fire and the water represents left and right. So once we start to talk about the hemispheres, right? Try not to look at hemispheres as far as right brain, left brain, and then what they call in your brain as that just the only aspect of your brain. No, all of these are brains. So for the most part, this will manifest as your brain. This will manifest to your heart. This will manifest as your sexual organs. You see what I'm saying? And all of these are brains. All of these are eyeballs. All of these are different perspectives that you can perceive the world. And as a spirit, some people be lost in this one. And the chakras, the lower, your lower animalistic natures, chakras created this one, and your higher chakras created this one. And these is going to become actual lower chakras once you go into the higher realm, and that's when the Kabbalah tree go upside down, and you start to become an inverted plant, which you're basically developing energies like that right now, which you're receiving things, and things is becoming branches within inside you, which is why you see your skull and your spinal cord being like a tree, and then all the wiring and your nerve systems being like the branches, and the organs that's hanging off of it is being like your fruits. And then here's the organs, the fruits that you bear. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a damaged mentality, a damaged way of dealing with your emotions and feelings, and have heart problems, or limited and prohibited sexual experiences and things of that nature, or being unsure of your sexual energy, or just sexual energy itself, being able to sufficiently relate to the world to manifest your things that you're trying to get in this world in a more easygoing way than a frustrating way, or a manipulating way, or an eighth house type of way. You know what I'm saying? Behind closed doors kind of way. So once you understand it like this, right? This letting you understand that your care is coming from your polar shifts, your masculine fire and your feminine water, and things of that nature. And this is both right brain, because we're doing this internally before we externalize these things, and it can become an airs, aka a heavens, and a motherfucking earth, aka something we can practicalize and be stable and construct our life in, our livelihood in some way, shape, or form, as an actual representation that vibrates slow enough so as to actually experience it long enough before it expires. So for the most part, keep that in mind also. So what you got symbolism and a lot of the shadow government doing in the world right now is fucking y'all minds up. You know what I'm saying? Because they're utilizing physical representations of rituals and ceremonies in order to clog your mind up and have you not thinking clearly. So it'd be all cloudy up here and things of that nature. So you're paying attention to more things than you necessarily need to pay attention to. Too much external things. And that's what actually calcify the first, or whatever y'all like to call the third eye, the pineal gland. What calcify is too much sun, too much paying attention to different forms of information. So for the most part, all of those are different interpretations of light. And when you receive too much light, it blinds you. Same way you go outside and look at too much light and you have to squint your eyes and your eyes water up. That's a different video. But for the most part, here's the thing, right? This is what you're actually doing with your pineal gland, is too much information to receive, so you're not knowing what to truly react and respond to. And at the end of the day, none of it is truly yourself that you react and respond to. So you don't even know yourself in life. You only know what's being told and what's being taught. And for the most part, once you start to experience things in life that actually don't represent what was taught, and you have to be more of your individual self, that's when you're going to start to feel lost. And that's when people jump into religions and need mental crutches and things of that nature. That's a whole nother video though. But that's when they got you. But that's that little macabre in between. So we create practicality and what makes sense out of our thoughts and our feelings. I'm saying out of our fire and out of our waters, out of our internal heavens and waters. So this would be hell when we start to externalize these things and make it heaven out of these things. But internally, right, when we visualize and see prosperity or see the future or see potential, that's our fire. So that's us creating a new heaven. We can get lost in that heaven, and then it bends in on itself and turn into water, aka the realm of reality we live in. But for the most part, if it's a turbulent waters, we live in chaos. If it's a water that's going in our favor, we live in a water that's flowing in the vision that is perceived, just in a more dense and low vibrational way. So this is our masculine and feminine natures in some way, shape, or form. Now that takes us into the second portion of this that I have drew up, right? How to have sex with yourself, and not how the shadow government actually have fuck your mind up and fuck you up physically and have you do all these extracurricular things that you don't necessarily know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Same way you probably don't understand why I wear these glasses, but on each side you see 7 stars. You see what I'm saying? So it's a perfect representation. On a beehive represents organization. It represents how we make things moving. So everything that you see in how we keep things moving. So everything you see in nature, right, are physical representations of our lower animalistic nature. So that means as a spirit, you have already experienced that, because the level of awareness and organs that you have created that you're in currently, right, is perceived to be more developed than these spirits that's in the vehicles right now as bugs and animals and things of that nature. So you have already did that and laid your footprints in the sand. So they was following you to this realm. So they have to learn each detail before they get to the level of awareness of being a human. And whenever you pass on and go to a 4th, 5th, or 6th dimensional being or reincarnate, however the case may be, they will be able to take the new form of human or humanity or the next level of awareness that evolved here in some way, shape, or form. But here's the thing, right? So y'all stop having arguments, atheists and religious people, about evolution and creationists. Everything is a transition. So keep that in mind. It's creation, mutation, then evolution, right? As spirits, we create, then we start to manipulate, aka mutate what we create, because we get lost with what we created. And then once we start to combine, have sex with the things that we created, combine things, right? That makes it mutate. And then once it's mutated, right, mutations evolve. You know what I'm saying? So we become our worst enemy, our own worst enemy. Now, the only way I could explain this in a 3rd dimensional way for a Protestant or the regular average individual to understand this, so they don't get lost in thinking it's a pseudo or things of that nature. This is one of the reasons why we can't get rid of toxic waste or trash. So we have to burn trash, but burning trash is not technically getting rid of trash. It's just basically creating a bigger problem, aka toxic and things in the air, which is one of the reasons why we got chemtrails, to prevent something that we're already doing, but it's a system that actually just works at the moment because we don't know no other way to go about it. Aka we have a problem with destroying ideas, feelings, into the physical realm, actual things that we create. We have an issue with destroying these things, and the mechanisms that we create, or the scientific methods, or the things that we create to destroy these things actually always create a bigger problem. You know what I'm saying? So it just be a small form of satisfaction until that become an issue, and we have to create something bigger to destroy that. All the way getting to the concept of robots, and y'all need machinery and phones and gadgets and computers and things of that nature to even be an individual. That's another video. Like I said though, right? This is taking us, now this is your little spiral system. So we all kind of like octopuses, right? So you need to know, and octagon, point star system, and things of that nature based upon a level of intelligence. That means octopus tentacles. Each tentacle is like a brain. So for the most part, this makes octopuses very way more intelligent than humans. So the deeper in the ocean that the creature is, the spirits that's in those vehicles are way more intelligent than the creatures that's walking on land right now. And a lot of times the creatures that's walking on land just think that they are intelligent because they actually live backwards. So their up is actually going down. So they're actually taking on more responsibilities spiritually, and actually making it physical in some forms of realm of reality, all the way to the point that this actually is a representation of y'all following the Abrahamic spirit. That's another video. Now here's the thing, right? Getting into this concept, this lets you know this is where you at. So on your esoteric GPS, so Malakuth, Earth, like I said, this is where you at, right? So this will be the brain, this will be the heart, this will be the motherfucking the dick and the pussy in this motherfucker, the sexual organs. So if we live in a water snake being right now, this lets you know what we live in the heart space. We live on a heart chakra, and for the most part, we got certain beings that then find spiritual ways to create shapes and forms to get to this, to get to the heavens and the heavens and the higher heavens and the earths of this being. And then we got a lot of other beings that, like the shadow government and things of that nature, that think they're getting there, but they're doing it in reverse. They actually going beneath the Kabbalah tree, and they're actually utilizing the physical means, and they're thinking their thoughts being brought down physical as a representation of them going up, but it's a representation of them taking more responsibilities. So keep that in mind also. And responsibilities limits the appreciation of life, because half of your life go by being correlated in some type of organized structure system, to the point that you kind of miss the point of life, and then you think life is a system. And then for the most part, this is where we got the government and shadow government and things of that nature right now. But for the most part, like I said, so this where we will be at, and this is where you about to start creating your monad. So for the most part, your surroundings, your bubble. So first you got your natures. That's your first bubble. So you got your first earthly natures. A lot of spirits that's in bodies here only know Earth, Tiamat, Gaia-like knowledge, aka their spiritual system only go as far as the circumstances and the ideas and the feelings and emotions that correlated with nature. So you're gonna have to rise above that a little bit, aka do some type of Ramadan energy where you're separating yourself from natures also, aka food or the sun, or get cave-like in some way. All forms of information in order to understand the full spectrum of your surroundings, so you don't have to take on no characteristic traits of thinking you have to do something that ain't even meant for you. That's just you taking somebody else's ideas that's from the sun and some shit like that. But for the most part, like I said, this is going to be where you at, Malakuth, Earth, right? So this is where your soul is at, but this is not the soul. This is where your space is in, and you're developing bubbles for yourself out of this water. You came out of this water. You came out of geographical location. When the sun, that body of water, came across a geographical location, aka the piece of the body of water that you're on, y'all call it Tiamat, Gaia, Earth, right? Then your family or race came up out of that geographical location and things of that nature. So that's what it's talking about in the Bible also. Not no actual person creating all this motherfucking dumbass shit. But for the most part, here's the thing, right? Now, this is letting you know the 7 virtues. So you create. Now, these are one thing. This is just like if you're spinning it real fast. You know what I'm saying? That's you being in your little spiral system. So for the most part, you have your night and day. You have your prosperity days, and you have your negative trial and tribulation days with inside you, how you feel. Sometimes you feel good, sometimes you feel bad. So this is a representation of your esoteric weather. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, keep this in mind. So up here will be your heavens. Up here will be your heavens or your higher self right here, right? And down here below, this will be your hell or your nighttime or your feminine energy or your devil. This will be your angels. So this will be your demons, your devils, nighttime, feminine energy down here in this perspective. Up here, this will be your heavens, your angels, or your higher self, or your daytime energy, your masculine angels. And this will be your feminine devil, nighttime down here. So for the most part, this, you got 7 virtues. And this spins through all of them. Sometimes they wake up and they go to sleep. But these are light spectrums, shapes, forms that your spirit right here can jump in as spaceships. So I'm saying this is your spirit. Your spirit always going to be here. You ain't going nowhere. But you create visions, aka to astral travel. So you jump in there and then you start to vision things through these realms of realities, through these chakras, and then these chakras are chakra wheels, and you get to will things into your existence, into your realm of reality, aka this light that you're utilizing. You can make it dense, make it believable, and make it a shape or form, and make it look like a person, place, or thing, circumstance, or situation to fulfill the unfulfilled, aka your space as a spirit. And once you fulfill these things in your space, you can see those representations externalized within the vehicle that you already created as a bubble within this space. You get it? So for the most part, here's the thing. Let's get into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, 1, virtue 1, that's going to be correlated to, more of like your solar plexus and things of that nature. But we're just going to get more on the aspect of numerology, gematria aspect of it, right? So number 1 represents personality, selfishness, or self-centeredness, or individuality. 2 represents duality, relativity, the ability to relate your individuality. And for the most part, this creates 3, because 1, your personality and the ability to relate your personality, right? It creates a surroundings, which take us to 3, right? Something you can become familiar with. So 3 represents familiarity, surroundings, or security in some way, shape, or form. So you become insecure when your personality is not being related in some way, shape, or form. Number 3 is not going to be able to get accessed to. See that 12 energy that 1 and 2 make, or 1 plus 2 makes 3. You ain't going to be able to have access to it fully if your personality is not being related to full. So people have problems like this in school. They don't want to go to school, or they don't want to go to work when their personality is not getting related to, right? So for the most part, their surroundings become unfamiliar to them, or it makes them uncomfortable, and it impede on their motherfucking security in some way, shape, or form. 4, thoughts. See, this is numerology, gematria, y'all, mental mathematics. 4, thoughts and process. Thoughts and the way you think and the way how you process these things. 5, your motherfucking feelings and emotions. How you correlate in these things in some way, shape, or form. So 4 is your individual thought, your ability to think and communicate in some way, shape, or form within yourself. 5 is your ability to deal with your emotional roller coaster in some way, shape, or form. 6 is what you give a lot of attention to, or what you formulate as an idea that you rather express, or that you want to see be expressed via person, place, or thing that's external outside of you. And 7, it's your point of view, aka completion, aka when you fully separate yourself from whatever you created, the ability to separate yourself from what you created. So you're not that, but you know you are that. See what I'm saying? So you having a higher wisdom, like you are your higher self now, and you know how to not let that shape and form outweigh you, because you know it's going to expire. So you're not going to die with it as a spirit. You know that, okay, yeah, I created this, but let me not get too fully attached, whether that's a thought form, feeling, or a physical trait. That's 7. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know higher wisdom in some way, shape, or form, but still living within the degrees of the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, feminine realm, purgatory, the yin realm, and to the 1, 2, or 3rd dimension, the masculine realm, externalizing, us being able to see these representations that we have manifest from the physical realm, from the feminine realm in some magnitude, right? So once we understand that, right, now you're going to be able to see the numbers. I don't know if y'all can see the numbers, right? So like I said, this is when you're spinning these things, and this is when you're spinning it, I hate to say above your horizon and below your horizon, because it's really you're spinning it far out. You're spinning it far out when you're going down. So that's you spinning it far out, and you're spinning it real close to you when you're going when it's brightening up your day. So all these lights come into you, you're witnessing a bright sunny day. So that's probably a happy day or prosperity day, or you're going to be able to manifest. When you let these things go out too far and things of that nature, right, you're being too far out. Your own individuality is being too lost into paying attention to things that's external or too far outside of you. So if this is an internal thing, see, you're thinking about external things inside too much, and it's building internal battles and struggles. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, let's get into these concepts. Now, you have Where's one at? Okay, for the most part, you have one because it's gonna be in vice versa. One is gonna be over here. One is gonna be over here. So it makes it alignment to let you know that it's one thing. So that's that monad right there, and then you'll be able to make the Da Vinci work right there, Mona Lisa, and you'll be able to make the First Supper drawings, and then below here you'll be able to make all the hell drawings and shit like that, and the he, ye, vi, she, de, evolving light languages, and if you understand how to the language of angels and demons and know how language is created in the first place and things of that nature, and it carries vibrations to make you feel and react in certain ways when these things are hummed or chanted. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, keep that in mind. So when y'all listen to church and stuff like that, that's a lot of times what the preacher be doing, or the service. That's a different video. But like I said, right? One. So for the most part, when you above the horizon, right? And like I said, the power of magic is the power of belief. So when you don't believe, you're not utilizing magic. When you believe, you start to utilize magic. When people start to believe in too many things, they become demonic. When a person know how to separate their beliefs and things of that nature and have lack of belief in things they don't have no business believing in, they become more angelic because they have a higher perspective of the point of view of the person who is in depth of whatever that they're believing at the moment. You see what I'm saying? So they're always going to play a form of a sense of direction for the person who believe into a lot of things, because the person who believe in a lot of things is just another representation of being lost in light. So whether they want to believe these things, they would still utilize the person who lack belief in these things as a form of a representation or goal to reach in order to justify what they are lost in, and that's becoming a logical demon in some way, shape, or form. 21st century demon, aka a person who utilizes apologetics or being a theologian. That's another video. Okay, but look, like I said, right? One. So once you become one represents your personality, right? You're more personally interested into what you want to develop in your life. Two, and plus you want to relate that in something that can benefit you and benefit others, but still in a brighter perspective. Three, you know what I'm saying? You want to make sure your surroundings are solidified and secure within the first two. Your personality can be related within your surroundings that can be familiar to you in a secure way. You don't have to build insecurities. Four, you're able to think about these things and analyze these things, right? And have great conversations or visions about these things. Five, you're able to be emotionally stable with these things. You know what I'm saying? Six, you're able to give these things attention and let these things manifest and relate your sex to it. Your ideas and feelings combining with others' ideas and feelings, or another idea and feeling within you that you're not letting kill the father and Lilith. You're not creating a bunch of descendants, daughters and sons that goes against that first thought. And then for the most part, they're going with it and they're helping you build that Noah's Ark. And then for the most part, that could keep you up, keep you on the horizon and not falling short into the PM in some way, shape, or form from your AM. And then for the most part, you got seven, the ability to separate yourself from these things and to know that you can go into these things at will, but not get lost into these things when these things start to go into the PM. And for the most part, then you as a spirit start to suffer the experiences as if it was in the PM. And what does it represent, these things being in the PM? Taking all these things in the AM and doing it as far as outside of yourself, aka when you go to one, taking too much of your personality and relating it to someone else's personality, aka comparing yourself or thinking about others too much. Two, relatability, aka you trying to think about how someone else relate too much. You need to worry about yourself a lot more and stop trying to worry about how other people relate or what they got as far as duality in their life. Three, paying way too much attention to what's familiar to other people. So you done lost sake of what's familiar to yourself, and now you live your life for others in some way, shape, or form. So your whole form of base of building security in your life is based upon what you think other people feel comfortable with. Four, right? You caring too much about other people's thoughts. So that's you bringing this down, and then it don't come into your life. You give all that to other people, aka care more about their thoughts. Your Malakuf natures care more about their thoughts and things of that nature. And then for the most part, you don't have your own mind. You become a robot or a sheep or dumb, deaf, blind, and weak. Five, emotions and feelings. You give too much of yours, or you don't have your own. You give too much of yours, so you don't got no daytime no more, or you don't unsure yours because you're too busy in your no thing space and forgetting that you are the creator, not the creations, and then therefore you give that all away to others and to the five, and then you don't have that light. You give that light to others, and then people can't see you in the dark. So for the most part, you care more about other people's feelings, and then you think your feelings don't matter. So you always develop frustrating circumstances in your life. You see what I'm saying? So that'd be five. Six right here. Instead of you paying attention to your creative arts and or you not even having any creative arts, you give all that and pay too much attention to other people creative arts and things of that nature, and therefore you have no energy to manifest yourself. So for the most part, you find yourself being a spectator more than a person who's actually on stage in all spectrums in life, and therefore there's no good in that. Everyone want to jump on stage every now and then, no matter what it is, even a nerd. And then once we get into the 7 right here, instead of separating yourself from whatever you created and being happy what you did and knowing how to transform, you're too lost into what other people have separated from. AKA, you might be lost in people separating from you, mentally, emotionally, or physically. And that's not the right aspect to be in as far as being in this holistic nature as a spirit. So this is, your spirit is here and it created a shape and form around itself, and that shape and form is like logic, Mercury, moon, light energy and shit, and then you could utilize that as light rays to jump into these other ones, and then you could understand your day and night. You know what I'm saying? Which is really night and day, which that's why you come from the bottom and come out of these things in some way, shape, or form. Flight boss bitch, you know, for sure. Love y'all.